Canada's Oscar-winning Queen of Movies, Mary Pickford. G'day guys, how's it going? My name is AussieTash. I have been getting so many suggestions from so many Discord members saying, Tash, check out the history of Mary Pickford. So I'm really looking forward to getting into it. Recently, I've been covering a lot of male actors that have come out of Canada, but I haven't touched on any female screen queens. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this one. Let's go. The history of Mary Pickford.
For more than 3 generations of moviegoers, this is the face of the most popular woman in the world. This is the face of Mary Pickford. She had made more than 160 films before Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, a classic that established her.
She was the most important woman to ever come out of Hollywood. She revolutionized the art and business of film and was a fierce advocate for workers' rights. And she was from Toronto. Okay. This is the history of Mary Pickford.
She was the first person to have their handprint on Hollywood Boulevard.
Wow.
She was the co-founder of United Artists, the co-founder of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, aka the Academy Awards.
Oh my gosh,
By her
really?
early 20s, she was making the 2021 equivalent of almost $19 million a movie. Gladys Marie Smith, known by her stage name Mary Pickford, was born right here at 211 University Avenue in Toronto.
Oh,
the story of Mary
house.
Pickford is elaborate, filled with pageantry, fame, sadness, struggle, and money. Lots and lots of money.
She
When we
looked very
think of
beautiful.
celebrity in modern times, we see, well, in 2021, you can be famous for falling down, for putting out a terrible song,
Yes.
for eating too much. But celebrity and fame in the early part of the 20th century was an entirely different beast. These days, we know what is happening in Siberia yesterday, what happened in Argentina this week. But in the first 2 decades of the 1900s, the world was different. At the beginning of the silent film era, what you could or couldn't see was decided by a small collective of production companies and often theater chains controlled by them. So when a star was born during that era, they were only one of a few. The era of silent film had 2 megastars, Charlie Chaplin and Toronto's Mary Pickford.
Really?
The girl with the golden curls. The young Canadian woman was known as America's sweetheart?
Okay, you guys
She
are
had
going to
made
like
more
that.
than 160 films before Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, a classic that established her forever as America's sweetheart.
America's sweetheart, yet she was born in Toronto. She was famous for making silent films. Man, the only person that I remember making silent films is, like they said, Charlie Chaplin. Just looking at some footage and some pictures of Mary Pickford, she looks so beautiful. I love the sparkle in her eyes. I'm really, really loving this video and all the history, learning about her, the influence she had on the Oscars, getting her first handprint on the Walk of Fame. That is really, really cool. Let's keep on going with this video, guys. I'm so glad it was suggested to me and we're taking the journey together, learning about Mary Pickford.
Well, yeah, they called her that too. Side note, Canada at that moment actually had another world-famous star. Arguably, at one point, the most famous athlete in the world, Tom Longboat, the distance runner.
Yep.
Gladys, aka Mary Pickford, was born in Toronto around 1892. She was the oldest of 3 children, born to a drunk father and a more reliable mom. After the death of her abusive father in 1898, the family would start boarding people. One of the boarders was a theater manager in Toronto, a man that would alter the life of all of them.
Mary, known as Gladys still at the time, began acting in theater alongside her brother and sister and mother. This would lead into a numerous-year stint traveling North America, performing in small productions for very little pay. In 1907, she would land a role that would change everything. A role on the Broadway production of The Warrens of Virginia, where she would take on her stage name, Mary Pickford.
By 1909, she started working in silent film in New York. By 1910, she was off to California, becoming the first woman to be billed in film. The first to, by name, be named in promo materials.
Okay.
She would land her breakthrough role in 1914's Hearts Adrift. This would make her the most famous woman in the world. The only person equivalent to her was Charlie Chaplin.
She was huge
By
then.
1916, in a slew of hits, she was able to command film contracts astronomical, even by today's standards. $10,000 a week and a guaranteed $1 million from sales per film.
What?
Close to a $19 million guarantee in 2021 dollars.
Oh
By
my
1919,
gosh.
she formed United Artists with Charlie Chaplin and a few others. At this point, she and a few associates controlled Hollywood. And she didn't take
Holy
this lightly.
moly.
She lobbied for and created numerous initiatives to support the film industry, down from the entry-level runners to actors
What is
to
Charlie
producers
Chaplin?
and everyone. Her work trying to safeguard the people of the film world would be long-standing. By the mid-1920s, she was on top of the world. In 1927, she co-opened the Grauman's Chinese Theater.
She
would lay
didn't.
her famous
Really?
handprints there shortly after, starting what would become a long-standing tradition.
Absolutely,
That
that's
same year,
huge,
she
man.
teamed up with a group of Hollywood heavyweights and founded the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. The following year, she would controversially win one of those Academy Awards.
Okay, so Mary Pickford was one of the people that founded the Oscars. Man, that is really, really cool. And all the cool stuff she done. She co-owned that Chinese Garden Theatre. We see that in movies all the time, but she was a co-owner of that. Oh my gosh, she made it super, super big in Hollywood, getting paid the equivalent of $10,000 a week. A week! Give me some of that. Silent films. I haven't really watched many silent films. Like I said, I seen Charlie Chaplin dancing around with his hat and his little mustache when I was a kid. I'm going to have to find some reels and some clips and have a look at some early Mary Pickford footage. She looks absolutely beautiful. I'm loving this video, enjoying learning about the history of her. I hope you guys are too. Let's keep on going.
1930, the introduction of talkie films with dialogue happened.
Talkie
Her
films.
career was arguably over, as was the case with many of the stars of the silent film era.
Her social life also faced hurdles. Her first marriage ended in 1920. Her second, to Douglas Fairbanks, started weeks later, them being christened the King and Queen of Hollywood. But it would end. In 1937, she would marry Charles Buddy Rogers, adopt 2 children, and take on a reclusive and alcohol-filled life.
Oh, that's not good, is it?
Her 2 Toronto-born siblings would pass away due to alcohol-related issues in the 30s, and the story of the Smith family would struggle on.
In 1943, her original home, right here on University Avenue in Toronto, was torn down. As she did for decades prior, she donated the proceeds from the sale of her original home to a fundraiser collecting money for war vets. And she would arrive in Toronto in May of that year to unveil the prize home. Nearing the end of her life, she proclaimed that she wanted to die as a Canadian. And in 1979, she did die as one, although in California at the time.
Oh.
In the early part of the 20th century, the world had only a handful of superstars. Toronto's very own Mary Pickford stood out even among them. People from all over the world would pilgrimage to University Avenue just to see where she was born.
Yeah.
Presidents, kings, prime ministers all begged to meet her. She was welcomed at every train station, every boat dock, everywhere. And it all started right where Sick Kids Hospital is today.
Wow. Well, that's just a little insight into the history of Mary Pickford and the huge, huge influence she had on Hollywood all the way back in the 1920s. Oh my gosh. She founded the Academy Awards, the Oscars, and she also won one, whether it was controversial or not. I just absolutely loved this story. I feel all good and happy in my heart learning about Mary Pickford and how successful women were even back in the day. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to find some of her reels, some of her silent films, and have a look at them. Guys, if you have any recommendations of where I should go to find these reels, please leave a suggestion in the comments. I'd really, really appreciate it. That was the video for today. If you enjoyed it, please jump on, smash the like button, leave a comment, and of course remember to subscribe. That really helps me out. Cheers from down under. Take care. Bye.